What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to review the 2025 Street Glide Ultra, and this thing is weird. So real quick, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my friends at Tim's Harley Davidson in Anderson, South Carolina for allowing me to come in and shoot these videos. So as we do our walk around, I'll give you some quick specs. I just like letting you guys see the bike before we start talking about all the details. So MSRP on this bike is going to start at $30,749. It's going to change based on your color and if you want the blacked out trim package. So in chrome and black, you can get it in blue burst, which is what you're looking at now. You can get it in black, billiard gray, a whiskey fire and black, which I thought looked really good. And then in the black trim only, you can get it in the iron horse and black two-tone, as well as the Mystic Shift, which would be the purple that kind of turns into a blue in certain lights. All right, so like I said, let's start with these lowers, and I want to kind of show you these in detail. I know from the pictures it's kind of hard to tell what's going on here, so I'm curious your first impressions on the shape and stuff. What are you guys thinking? Oh, that's supposed to, there we go. So you'll see that there is storage in both of these, as well as you can open and close these flaps to direct some wind in or block it out. But one of the things that I've noticed is this floorboard, the way this lower fairing is designed, it doesn't cover as much as they used to. And in case you're having a hard time remembering, let's look at the old one real quick. So this is your older style fairing, and you'll see that you have much more coverage from the floorboard. So if you're trying to block wind or rain, I feel like this one's gonna do a much better job. I also wanna just walk around these. I know most people have seen them a ton, but let's take a look at fit and finish. I'm just gonna say it like it is. And I bring that up because from the side, I don't really find these that offensive. I feel like they kind of match the lines of the bike. I've heard a ton of people say they look like Indian. I get it. Doesn't really bother me. What kind of did bother me was this view from the front. I don't know if it's because it's so big and bulky. I'm trying to show you guys. Yeah, this kind of gives you a good idea of what I'm talking about. And I'm sure it's functional. So it's channeling wind in all the right places. It's cooling off the bike. It's blocking the wind off you. It's doing what it's supposed to do. But I don't know if it's because it's like this unpainted surface or something. Something looks off to me. Maybe you guys can tell me what I'm trying to describe here, because I'm just not loving it. Like I said, from the side, not terrible at all. From the front, I don't dig it. I do like that they kind of extend just a little bit across the bottom of the bike, clean some of that up and gives it a good look. I mean, I stand by what I say. From the side, it doesn't look bad. Now, I checked before putting this video out, and at the time of recording, there are no speakers available to go in those lowers. And I want to point that out because as an Ultra, most people are used to 4 speakers, 2 being in the fairing here and 2 being on the tour pack here. And again, luckily, since we happen to have one, I can show you. So you had these speaker pods that went under the armrest that come on the older model Ultras. You don't have that on the Street Glide Ultra. So you can add speakers in your saddlebag lids, but to my knowledge, that is it. I don't think you can add them to the tour packs currently, and I know based on just looking, you can't currently add them to the lowers. So if you want to add more speakers, which I feel like most people will probably want to do, if you're on an Ultra, you've got a passenger, you're going to want a little more music, you're going to have to buy different saddlebag lids or cut these to install the speakers. One thing that I did notice that I thought was unique was that these are Rockford Fosgate speakers. And I say that's unique because this bike is built off of the Street Glide. Here, we've got some over here. And these are not branded with the Rockford name. These were, so I guess these are a upgraded speaker option, which is nice. But again, I just feel like a lot of people are gonna really want to add another set of speakers. So I'll say the best way for us to probably do this is for me to point out how this Street Glide Ultra differs from normal Street Glide. So as we've seen, we have the lower fairings there. You're also going to get a different seat, a little more designed for comfort versus looks. You have a taller windshield, which I know a lot of the taller guys riding the Street Glide will appreciate. Stands upright significantly more. This is what you're getting on your normal Street Glide. Obviously, much sleeker, looks a lot better, being tinted and stuff, but this is what's coming on the Ultra. I also noticed when they were taking it off the truck today that you have an external adjustment for your rear shock here to set your preload settings. So that's pretty nice if people take advantage of it. I feel like most people won't, but if you do, then there you go. And then obviously you have your tour pack, which is basically what's making this thing an Ultra. So we'll open it up. You see you do have the nice felt liner, and that's a huge thing, man. It doesn't seem like a lot, but as far as keeping your stuff nice and not getting it all scuffed up, like I've had stuff that just lives in my saddlebag like this, where it's just this plastic, and the plastic gets all chewed up from stuff kind of sliding around, even if you try to wrap it and protect it, and then all the stuff that's in there is all kind of scuffed up. So these liners are really nice. You can buy something like this for the bags, but it's nice to see that it comes with it. Looks like you're getting one key fob and 2 keys from this. So that's been debated a lot online. They come with 2, they come with 1. They come with 1. If your bike came with 2, then you probably paid for it. The dealer just added it into your deal and you paid for it. Some people, maybe they hooked you up and they threw one in there on the house, but I wouldn't count on that. I believe this to be the same size as previous generation tour packs. So we'll grab a helmet off the shelf really quickly and see if we can fit a full face helmet in here and still close the lid. All right, so I grabbed a large helmet off the shelf. As you can see, this is tapered, so we'll put it more towards the front, and we're easily able to close that up in there, which is really nice. That's one of the things I hate about riding a non-touring pack and usually non-saddlebag bike, is I never have anywhere to stick my helmet when I'm done with it. And with a camera and a Cardo and the fact that I run a carbon fiber helmet, it's like a $1,500 setup. So I'm just not willing to trust it to hang from my bars most of the time, so I end up walking around with it. So it's a very small detail, but another thing that's slightly different than your Street Glide are these wind deflectors here. So you do have those on the Street Glide. They're just shaped a little bit differently, a little bit longer, a little more narrow. These are a little shorter and wider. It's gonna kick the wind a little bit different. And then lastly, one thing that I noticed as I was messing with this bike before I started the video is you do have navigation built into this bike. I don't think it's that thing where you gotta pay 300 bucks or whatever, like they do on the Street Glide and Road Glide. This did have the nav built into it when I was messing with the screen. So those are gonna be all your differences, at least all the ones I notice that separate this thing from a regular Street Glide. But for those that are wanting to see the bike or haven't looked at the new Street Glide since the redesign in 24, we'll kind of start to go over that stuff. So as you can see, you now get a big 12.3 inch screen. I'll power it on. We won't go through all the features because there's a lot of stuff going on with this screen, but just kind of let you see what you're working with. It is really, really nice. Another thing I like about the Batwing is you get this little tray here that pops out. I love the layout of the Batwing fairing. I've always been a Batwing guy. Nothing against the Road Glide. I don't dislike it. I just prefer the Batwing over that. Just how close everything is to me is just what I like. So your controls are going to be a little different if it's been a while since you've looked at the new Harleys. all your same buttons plus a little bit more. Let's turn that off so that music doesn't play. Cruise control, your trip button, traction control. This brings up stuff in the menu. Back, this is your navigational stuff. Left turn signal and horn, so your signals are no longer on this left-hand control together. They're separated. Modes for your ride modes. Your push-to-talk stuff, controlling all of your audio, your run and start switch, as well as your hazard lights. So hydraulic is only the brake. Clutch for 2025 is still a cable. And originally I didn't like that when Harley went back to the cable, but the more I ride, the more I realize I do like the cable. I like the easy pull of the hydraulic. I like the more adjustability that the cable offers, so I'm a cable guy there. Obviously you get the Milwaukee 8 117 high output. So this thing out of the box, in my opinion, if you threw some exhaust on here and kind of open it up, I personally would throw a different breather on there just because I don't necessarily love that one. It's big, it's bulky, it's probably gonna struggle to get air, seeing how it's mostly blocked by that lower fairing there. But if you just uncork this thing, well, as I like to say, you're gonna get great performance. There's no need to go beyond that. Maybe you're a bigger guy with a bigger passenger and you want a little more power, passing power, going up hills, stuff like that, sure. Or if you just like to build stuff, I get it. I'm guilty of it too. Good chance to shamelessly plug my Softail that's for sale. Sorry guys, trying to get this thing going. 2020 Softail standard, making 145 horsepower, 142 torque, over 16 grand in add-ons done to this bike. Just hit me up if you're interested. My email is in the description if you're looking to pick this thing up. But 18,000 bucks, guys, that's cheaper than you can buy a Softail standard for stock. And this one's only got 6,000 miles, and I mean, it's got $6,000 wheels on it. So hit me up if you're interested. So back to the Ultra, dual disc front brakes, LED turn signals, but kind of by default because your signals are now built in, which I do actually really like. From day one, I was a fan of this new Batwing redesigned fairing and the turn signals. It's, get you a better angle here. You can see they kind of just mold into this headlight ring. Really, really good design. I'm still not completely sold on the new Road Glide fairing, that Cyclops style headlight. I like them when you change them out to the Baja designs, but then you're spending 2,500 bucks to replace a headlight that works perfectly fine. The Bajas just look a lot better. Another thing I noticed about this is this smaller streamlined fender, which I'm a fan of. It looks a little more racy. If it was up to me, we would have done one of those nice carbon fiber fenders on there. But when I say a lot more streamlined, we'll compare it back once again to the older model Limited, and you see that fender, and maybe on this kind of bike, guys like that bigger, wrapped around, more coverage fender. I mean, it's definitely gonna keep rain and road debris off your bike a lot better than that small one on this bike. But to me, that clean line, the low profile, I just really like this one. Gas tank's gonna be your 6-gallon tank. And one thing we used to do, I just realized we kind of got away from it, is I used to go really hard into these badges and be pretty opinionated on these, and I still am. We just don't really put it in the videos. I think Harley did a great job on this badge. I really like it. I feel like it fits this bike. I also like this chrome dash. With the chrome gas cap and stuff, it's harder and harder to get chrome done with EPA stuff. So I am glad that Harley did that. The only thing when I was stepping back looking at this bike from the side that I felt like it could really use from the factory was the chrome lower forks. It's been a gripe of mine for a while. I don't think we'll ever see it, but it would make this bike look so much more premium. And I really don't know what else, you know, if you want to throw little pieces of chrome at it, your floorboards or something, cover those with chrome. Other than that, I feel like they've done a really good job with the chrome on it for this year. Moving around to the back of the bike, I do like this tail section. I do like these lights. If you'll remember a few years back, this used to be like a CVO style thing to have these like Frenched in looking taillights on there. So I think that does a good job at cleaning up the back of the bike. But I did like when the Ultras had the lights on the back of the tour pack. So once again, sorry to keep referring back to this one, but I think it's nice that we have it here to reference. On your old Ultra Limiteds, you would have those big, nice lights on the back of the tour pack, but you got the little small light there on the fender. So I guess there's a little bit of give and take there. It also just occurred to me that you don't have the passing lamps on the new bike. I'm kind of partial to those. I think they look really good. They're kind of nostalgic Harley. They never bugged me, and I've seen a lot of guys add them to just like the normal Street Glide for additional lighting. They do really help, and I definitely think they would make this thing feel a little bit more like an Ultra. I'm not sure if that's a parts and accessories thing you could add after the fact, but I'm kind of partial to them. One big thing that I should have pointed out at the beginning of this is when I was moving this bike around, it felt unusually light for an Ultra. So I looked it up. This thing in running order weight is 866 pounds, whereas the Ultra Limited from last year, the black bike that we keep going back to, was 917 pounds. So I mean, pretty significant. Like it's genuinely noticeable. Like if you hop on the two bikes back and forth, pick them up, you know, off the kickstand, it is very noticeable. So I was glad to see that not only did you get a little power increase from the engine, but the weight went down, so your power to weight ratio will be even better. That's gonna be it for this one, guys, but I'm genuinely curious what your guys' thoughts are on why we only have a Street Glide Ultra and no Road Glide Ultra. Do you think one's coming? If not, why did they only do the Street Glide? Like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you're not already. We just hit 45,000. I would love to hit 50K as quick as possible, and I can't do it without your help. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.